What's the time? It's time to get ill. It's an old Beastie Boys song. So we got a Nixie clock here I bought off AliExpress, and if you're interested, I'll leave an affiliate link. So this showed up in a different box with more padding, so this seller seems to care, and it's actually a pretty high quality foam. So, and the reason why is these are like old school tube, kind of like tube amp kind of things. So the story behind Nixie lamps is in the Cold War era, 1950s, 60s, 70s, they made these displays because LCDs and PVDs and LEDs weren't really cheap or even around yet. So this is an old way to tell time, and they would be put into like military and scientific equipment. Not necessarily meant to be a clock, but I looked online and these things are supposed to last like 5,000 hours or so, maybe 10,000 or even longer. So, okay, so that's probably to fight against static. This is Chinese. So there's different sizes of Nixie tubes. This is the IN-12, it's just kind of like a rectangular slot kind of shape, but there are vertical tubes. If I end up liking this clock, I might buy a different one. And what's nice about this is it has a remote control because I want to turn it off, because although some people I read online leave their clocks running all the time for several years on end, I'm not sure if I want to do that. So I like the idea of just having a power button there. Boy, what does this mean? I think these are the types of Nixie tubes, if I had to guess. Maybe not. No, I don't think so. There's some sort of time markers. Well, okay, well, at least we know what the dimensions of this thing. That. And it runs off USB, but what type of USB? Nice. Type C, so that's good. And I guess I'm going to have to just figure out this thing. Maybe on the AliExpress listing there's a set of instructions, but it's a clock. I can't imagine too much is going to happen. I just wanted to tell time. I'm sure there might be like a timer, maybe a stopwatch or something, but I'll never use it for that purpose. So we do have a hex wrench if you want to take it apart, which I do not. And you'll notice here they put in a little foam to keep these glass tubes from vibrating into each other and possibly breaking. So yes, these are glass and they're sealed. They're like vacuum tubes, and inside it you can see these numbers. Oh, well, let me change the light angle here, sorry. Okay, so if you look really close into this tube, you can see stacked numbers. They're not in order, they do that so you can see the numbers easier, but it looks like there's a number 8 here. No, maybe a number 9 in the front, maybe a 6 over there. It depends where in the stack, but they're all stacked up like that. And then there's some sort of gas in here. I think the IN-12s have mercury, a little bit of mercury in there. And what happens is the electricity hits one of those numbers. Those are insulators, those pink things, but the cathode or whatever is that little thing with the wire going to it. And somehow that makes this number glow. So I've never seen one of these in person. I know there have been clocks and watches with this for quite a while now, but I decided to buy a bunch of toys instead. But now it's time to get a new clock going. I'm not sure why this will be important, but I'm gonna weigh it anyways. Maybe for some reason you want to know how much this weighs. So without the cable, it's like 124 grams. This is like an extra stand piece. So with the stand, 126 grams, somewhere in that range. So I guess the whole thing, 172, 73 grams if you want to pack it. I don't know why. I think I've seen pictures of people putting these in their cars. It's just like an old school way of looking at time. I'm quite curious to see what it looks like in person. So if you wanted to, you could unscrew this and you can screw this in there, and then it'll be like a leaned up clock, like so. But I don't think I want to do that. This acrylic also seems a little bit thin for something that's going to be a stand. Acrylic is a brittle plastic. If you drop it, it shatters kind of like glass. This is only 1.6 millimeters thick. I think a 3 millimeter would have made more sense. In fact, I'm a little curious. this is 2.4. This one here is 3.2, and then yeah, that's also 3. So much thicker on the actual clock, which is smart. So this top plate is keeping these tubes slightly from vibrating, and then you can see the electrical contacts are going through, I think, that piece of acrylic into those receptacles down there. It's quite interesting. It's all exposed. It's really retro. There's a Type-C connector, and you can see it's marked USB 5 volts, which is good. Oh, it even has a battery, 1220, so it keeps track of time when the thing loses power. So that's nice. So I guess you could travel with it, and it'll keep its time, hopefully. Circuitry. Okay. And then these are some sort of vacuum tubes as well. Just a semicolon there. Is that a little transformer way down in there? I think it might be a bunch of coiled wires there. I believe these things run at a very high voltage. This also has 4 buttons, which we'll have to experiment with. And then it does say IN-12. So the remote control, it's got a little insulator to keep the battery fresh. But let's just see how easy it is to open this. Well, the battery's out. Okay, so that's not a bad... And it takes a 2025. So the lock is pretty easy to actuate. You just gotta squeeze this in and then pull it out. Okay, cable wise, seems a decent enough cable. It's probably a 1 meter cable if I had to guess. Yeah, but I already have one here. Hold on. Alright, this is gonna be super cool. Alright. So if I angle this, you can see, you know, that number 6 is way down there, 4 is up there, and 0 is like maybe 1 below that. I believe with enough time, these will cycle through because it doesn't want to burn out that cathode. So it's really cool looking. I gotta get the camera close. It's got this neat glowing effect, right? There you can really see now the numbers stacked up. I think 3 is the very first, then 8, then 9. Yeah, I can't make out the rest though. But the depth of it is really interesting. And these are just like, I don't know, maybe it's just a rod in there. You see how loose that one is. Yeah, they both are. I guess that's why the acrylic is close to it. So that's just blinking. I'm waiting for this to cycle. I don't know what the time... Oh, well, it changed to another minute. There are units with 6 digits, so you could have the seconds ticking. But I'm going to put this underneath my television, so I don't want it to drive me crazy. And that's another reason why I want the remote control. Okay, so now you can see here, there's a bunch of LEDs. In this case, the default is to go through the color range. It's slowly shifting through all the colors. At a pretty decent pace, too. It's kind of neat. I like it. Yeah, glowing. Alright, let's kind of guess what these things do here. Alright, so first button here did nothing. Double test? Oh, maybe that controls the LEDs. Yeah, it goes red, purple, blue, aqua, white, off. And then the breathing kind of mode. Oh, this now just has a different color for each 4. Interesting. Oh, it's also changing. You know what? I'm going to turn off this light above us because that'll really help out. Ooh, look at that. Very neat. Alright, so you get an idea all those colors. But off, yeah. Let's look at the numbers really close again. Yeah, boy, you know, my camera makes them look a lot brighter. It also makes it look like the corners are brighter than the other sections of the number. But to the naked eye, they just look like the same orange pretty much. And I can actually see a little bit of like a gaseous state. I can actually see it through my phone screen. See around the top of the 9? It looks like there's gas or something there because the thing is literally filled with gas. So I think the gas is reacting with the electrified number. Very much like a kind of like a fluorescent light bulb, but different. Alright, well anyways, that was the first. Let's get this back to so that is a pretty fast color shift. I'm gonna go the second one because I think I started to see it change also. Yeah. So that's interesting. This might be the coolest one. So they're all 4 different colors, but this one, the second one, is changing quite a bit. I don't know about the other 2 though. No, they are changing as well. So that's neat. Alright, let's see what button number 2 is. Seconds. Year. See, that's cycling through. I think it's doing that to preserve the numbers. This thing's already, this is accurate. I think today is the 28th already. So that's, I don't know if this thing is hooked up to Wi-Fi or GPS. I forget. Some of them have a GPS and it automatically syncs with the satellite. Other ones just work off of a Wi-Fi. But I haven't hooked up the Wi-Fi to this yet. Alright, so anyways, you got the date. I don't know what that is supposed to be. 50. And then this. Time down, maybe? It's just counting seconds again, but... Alright, I'm gonna just... I guess leave it at 12:28. Third button. So that's just cycling through. Like a refresh kind of thing. I guess that's all the third button does. I'm going to double tap it and see what happens. No. I guess if you just want to show it off to people. Fourth button. Whoa. It just stays off. I guess that's the power on button. That's a really cool power on and off. So I'm going to turn it off again. It cycles through each. On. Cycles through each and turns on. That's really neat. Okay. I'm going to turn the lights back on because I can't see the remote control. So even with the lights on, you know, I can tell what time it is. Okay, so I went through the Google Translate on these instructions, so the only thing that's an issue is this 9 times 9 is the factory restore. I don't know if it actually works. So I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to just hit this 9 button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. See, so I gave it 2 chances and I didn't see any numbers flash, so I don't know if it's restored. I don't think it is. Alright, well anyways, you can just hit go through the settings, which we're going to do. So the display screens, if I go to mode, so also keep note, that was the refreshing of all the digits. And it does that because, you know, these electrodes are reacting with the gas and slowly melting away. And if it just stays on number 3 for 5 hours on end, that 3 is going to burn out a lot faster than the other digits. So it's going to transition right now every minute. It's going to cycle through all those digits on every one of these tubes. That's what that flashing was. Okay, back to this. If I hit mode, this is the seconds. And you'll notice it's literally just going 3, 4, 5, 6. But later I'm going to show you a different way, which is a little bit cooler, I think. And then this is the day of the week. So right now it's Saturday, so that's the 7th day of the week. Okay. Next screen is the year, 2024. Next screen is the date, December 28th. Now is the actual time. It's actually 2:30 in the morning right now. You notice my semicolon, not semicolon. Yeah, it is semicolon. That thing is flashing. You can change that to be always on, but that's probably not a good idea because it'll burn out faster. And then back to seconds and day of the week. Alright, so on the back of this paper, when you do settings, it has to go through all of these settings. It's pretty quick to do. So now if I go to set, it starts on the year. So you can increase and decrease, you know, with the plus and minus. Right now it is 2024. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to hit the right button. Now we're setting the month and the day. It's already December 28th. I'm going to hit right again. Now we're setting the hours and minutes. So it's 2:34. Now I'm setting the seconds, which I don't care about, and the day of the week. That you might care about. So you'll notice it only goes to 7, right? 7. Okay. Now you'll see it enters field number 1. This is the time frame for those things to cycle through all the digits. Anti-poison cathode is what Google Translate said. By default, every 5 minutes it's going to cycle through all those digits. But I wanted to cycle through more so the digits all burn evenly. So I changed mine to 1 already. But if you wanted to, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10, 20, 30 minutes, or if you're silly, you could just change it to 0 and the numbers will never refresh, meaning they'll just burn out, I think. So that's why I'm going to leave it at 1 minute, the shortest time frame, to try to have all those numbers burn out evenly. Program 2 is the automatic shutdown. So you can tell it to shut off in 1 minute up to 60 minutes, but by default it doesn't turn off because it's a clock. And actually that's the way I want it. I'm using this as a clock. So if I want to turn it off, I'll just hit the power button. Program 3. This is the 12 to 24 hour, display. Right now it's set to 12 hours. I don't do military time, and I pretty much know what time, if it's day or night out. So I'm going to leave it at that. Number 4. This one I don't know. Please leave a comment if it makes sense to you, if you already have this. It translated as the 10th digit blanking. Like the 10th digit of something, does it stay as a 0 or 1 or blanked off? I don't know. So number 4, I have no clue. I'm going to just leave it to the default, which is 0. Number 5 is that colon, whether it's flashing or always on. You want it to be default. That's what this means, default. Flashing. So I want that to be at 0, actually, because I want those things to not burn out. Alright, so now program 6, So program 6 is digit to digit. So right now the default is direct, going from sequential number to sequential. But I'm going to do transition. So you'll see when I change this to 1, after I close this out. Alright, now the next one, there's no number associated, but you can tell it what time of day to turn on, hours and minutes. And then the next field, same thing, when to turn the clock off, hours and minutes. So I'm going to skip that. The last one is number 7. And this is kind of worth looking into. This is the poisoning programming. So the default is bit by bit. We're going to, I guess, leave it. I'm going to change that to 3. Okay, so now I exited because there's nothing else to program. So now we're here. I'm going to change the mode to the second one. So you see before the seconds we're going 1, 2, 3. But now to get to 8, to 9, to 0, to 1, it's cycling through all the digits. So, I don't know. It just looks cool. Maybe that is actually burning out the digits more than it should. But it looks cool, I think, right? See, so you just saw the whole time change. Okay. Alright, so we'll see the refresh now. Set to default, which is bit by bit. So you'll see bit by bit it's going through all those digits. I think that's kind of neat. So I'll go to set and I'll change it to simultaneously. It's just going to do all 4 of them identically, but you'll see how quickly I can go through the settings. So I just hit right. Now I start seeing these digits. And I want to get to 7. Now I want to slow down here. So now we'll just change this to simultaneously, which is program 1, and hit exit. Again, I might cut out the extra time, but we'll see these things change all simultaneously soon. So you can see now it's refreshing all of them simultaneously in sequence. Yeah, it's not for me. I don't like that one. So the last one will be randomly. So we got to go again, set, and just hit right until you start seeing this. I want to get to 7. I'm going to change this to 2, which I think was I had before. Now I exit, and now we're going to see these things randomly cycle through. There, so you can see all of them just did a whole bunch of a flurry of numbers. So you have 3 choices. It's kind of neat, I think. Alright. Oh, yeah, that's not flashing anymore. So I gotta change that back. So I gotta go to program 5, set. And this should be, well, that's weird. It does say 0. Flashing should always be 0. That's weird. I actually changed that to that setting number 5 to 1, and now it is flashing again. So if this thing doesn't flash, you just change it to the opposite number and it works now. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my previous video, and if I repeat anything, I apologize. That's it, I guess. There's not much else to it. It's just super cool to look at, and it's quite compact. I like that there's defaults, you know, the default keys on the thing, and then you have the remote control to make life easy. So if you, even if you lose the remote control, you're still going to be able to use it. Very neat. One thing I did now I'm noticing, this tube is sticking out a lot more than the other. And the reason why, I think, is, I mean, these things were made in the 1950s to 70s, so the production tolerances are quite off. I mean, this is a blown glass tube, so it's not plastic. It was blown glass, like an old school light bulb. So I guess that's fine. You can actually buy replacement tubes. It's just that they're kind of expensive, so that's why, again, I want the remote control to turn it off when I don't use it. I guess that'll be it today. I gotta say, this thing is pretty sweet. I might end up buying another one. Well, only time will tell. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Again.